Hey everyone, and welcome to our Q&A presented by Just Love. I'm your host Paula Jane, and I'm talking to Judy Carroll. Judy is an internationally known author. Her books include The Zeta Message, Human by Day, Zeta by Night, and her most recent book, Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History. Welcome, Judy.
Hi Paula, and hi everyone.
Today we're going to continue from episode 24 with our discussion on Reiki, including the aura cleanse that, Judy, you were taught this by your tall grey teacher, Oris. I recall you telling us in an earlier episode how it was your off-planet family who initially advised you to undergo studies in working with universal life force energy through practices such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and Reiki. You told us that your off-planet family advised you to take up these practices, firstly, to help you remain grounded in Earth human form while carrying out the work that was required, and to keep your energy field in a state of balance and harmony. Secondly, you were informed by them that someday in the future you'd be teaching these energy techniques to others, which you've now been doing for around 30 years. Back in 2001, Oris taught you an amazing aura cleansing technique, which you've shared on YouTube. Can you tell us what is so unique about this technique?
Yes, Paula, the aura cleanse that Oris taught us is a universal technique used off-planet and in the healing rooms on the ships. There's actually quite a story behind it, which I'll tell quickly. It was taught to my friend and co-author Helene Kay, her daughter Kira, and myself the first time that I visited them to connect with Oris back in June of 2001. Speaking through Kira, Oris took us through it step by step and explained its universal usage for clearing blocks in energy fields. He also showed us how to hold our hands in what the Greys call the peace sign, which I'll talk about further on. After I left to go home, Helene and Kira decided to do some practice with the technique, and Helene wanted to write it down so as not to forget it. It's a fairly complex procedure involving 13 steps and working through several dimensional levels of the aura. As she was practicing on Kira, they both heard a really loud, booming voice say, "No, fingers together." The voice set all the dogs in the street barking, except their own dog, a black Labrador called Shaka, who took no notice whatsoever. Kira rushed to the front door, thinking it had come from somebody outside, but all was quiet, with nobody in sight. Then the realisation hit both of them at once. It was Oris's voice they'd heard, correcting Helene's technique and reminding her to keep her fingers together while doing the aura cleanse, which is the same as in Reiki, where the fingers need to be closed for maximum focus of the energy. And of course, Shaka the Labrador didn't react like all the other dogs. He knew and loved Oris from his regular visits to their home, so why would he bark? It was just his old friend Oris back again for another visit.
Wow, that's so amazing. Okay then, Judy, another question. There is the traditional way of doing Reiki, and there is something you do called a Chelation treatment, also Reiki. What is the difference between a traditional Reiki treatment and a Chelation treatment?
Okay, the Chelation treatment isn't traditional Reiki, which is why it's not commonly taught in Reiki schools. But my teacher learnt it when he did level 2 Reiki, along with the mental emotional treatment that is generally taught at level 2. All three types of treatments have fairly specific uses. The Chelation treatment is rather similar to the aura cleanse in that it's specifically used to clear energy blocks in the auric field and balance it out. When you're attuned as a Reiki channel, the energy flows automatically when you place your hands on the body. So when the Chelation treatment is carried out by a Reiki practitioner, the Reiki energy flows and assists the process. Because the Chelation treatment is specifically designed for maximum clearing, it enhances the flow of Reiki. It's particularly useful in clearing stubborn energy blocks that can remain after an injury, causing the site of the injury to remain painful even after physical healing has taken place. It can also assist with chronic muscle and joint pain, RSI, etc. It leaves the whole body feeling very light and relaxed. To compare the two treatment methods in a nutshell, Reiki works by balancing and harmonising the energy field, and the Chelation treatment works by clearing energy blockages. Reiki has a clearing effect as well, but the Chelation is quicker. The third treatment format that should be taught at level 2 Reiki is the mental emotional treatment. This is specifically for helping to clear and relax the mind. It has what could be thought of as a defragging effect on the mind and can be applied to anything from calming tension and stress, assisting with problem solving, right through to calming suicidal thoughts and pulling a person back from the brink.
Well, that's interesting about how the various Reiki techniques all channel the same energy but can be applied quite specifically in each case.
Yes, it can be tailored in a way to suit whatever the client's needs are, and their own higher self is the one in control of the treatment, so it's always aimed at the highest good of the client and cannot be forced on anyone against their will.
Okay, so back to the information that Oris gave to the three of you on the aura cleanse and just Reiki in general. What's the significance of holding your hands in the peace symbol position that he showed you? I've noticed that Bashar always speaks with his hands held the same way in front of his solar plexus. Just to explain, Bashar is a multidimensional being, a friend from the future who speaks through channel Darrell Anchor.
Okay, as Oris explained to us, the peace sign position is a way of focusing the energy more strongly, and he advised us to use it whenever we can when doing Reiki. I received some great confirmation sometime after he taught us when I was teaching Reiki to a woman who'd studied Qigong quite deeply. She was a Roman Catholic nun, so when I showed her how to hold her hands, I didn't say anything about it being taught to us by an off-planet teacher. However, her response was, "Oh yes, that makes sense. In Qigong we call that diamond hands." Now, I'd never heard of this before Oris told us. And I actually have a really funny little story connected with this hand position. On one occasion, Oris was present in Helene's home, fine-tuning her Reiki techniques, and he said that the hand should be held in this position throughout the treatment. Now, this is fine for a tall grey like him, but for an earth human, it's not so easy. Oris then had to leave quickly as he was being called elsewhere, and one of the small greys came in to take his place. Poor Helene was struggling and finding it impossible to maintain the peace sign position for any length of time. It's very tiring on the arms to hold it on some of the positions when you're giving an hour treatment to somebody. She complained to the small grey that, not being in an earth human body, it was all very well for Oris to tell us to always use this position, but it's just too hard. The little grey then kindly suggested that she just hold it for a few seconds to get the energy flowing strongly, then to bring her arms and hands back into a more comfortable position. Helene explained to him that Oris seemed very insistent that we keep our hands in the peace sign position. The little grey blithely responded, "Oh, don't worry about him, he's just an old fusspot." We still laugh about that one.
Yes, I've heard that the Greys have a good sense of humour. That's so funny. Now, I know the aura cleanse is a 13-step process, so what are the main functions of it?
The main functions are clearing energy blocks at various dimensional levels of the aura. This is the reason why some moves are done 3 times, or else repeated slightly differently a couple of times. And each time these energy blocks are brought to the surface, they are then cleared and smoothed away. At the end, the aura is sealed off and the energy grounded.
And can the aura cleanse be done by anyone, or do you need to be attuned to Reiki?
Anyone can carry out the aura cleanse. You don't need to be a Reiki channel to use it. This is why we put it up on YouTube, so anybody can learn it. Many parents have found it wonderful for settling restless children, especially at bedtime.
So what are some of the other benefits of having an aura cleanse?
It clears away any negativity or blocks in the energy field. It's refreshing, cleansing and clearing. It helps you to relax after a busy or stressful day and helps to clear away any negative energy you've picked up on. It's hard to do it physically on yourself, so my advice is to learn it off by heart, and then while you're lying down or sitting, you can simply visualise doing it on your body. I do it every night before I go to sleep and also in the morning when I wake up. Visualising it is just as effective.
This is all so interesting. Before we conclude our dialogue on Reiki, I'd just like to remind our listeners that Reiki is pure love energy. It cannot be used to do harm to anyone, and it cannot be forced on anyone against their will. Free will always prevails. Reiki truly is a path of the heart. To finish up, we'd like to read out some words from Hawayo Takata's early diary. Hawayo Takata was a Japanese-American woman born in Hawaii. She was the one who introduced the spiritual path of Reiki to the Western world. Takata was trained in Tokyo, Japan by Dr. Chichiro Hayashi. I'll just say that again. Shichiro Hayashi. Is that right? Hard to get.
Chichiro Hayashi.
Who was a student of Mikao Usui, the founder of the Reiki tradition. This is the lineage from which Reiki has been born. Hawayo Takata became a Reiki master in 1938. The clinic she established in Hawaii is still in operation, with some Reiki still being practiced there. Reiki was brought to the West from Japan to America via Hawaii during the Second World War. This is the reason why Hawayo Takata needed to present it as the laying on of hands technique practiced by Jesus. She could see the amazing benefits that it offered, having been healed of a serious illness herself through Reiki. But she knew very well that a Buddhism-based healing technique from Japan would be dismissed out of hand by America at that time, with relations between the two countries being at an all-time low. This is the reason why the deeper roots of Reiki were lost to the West. I like to think of Reiki as being a beautiful and positive gift of healing that was meant to balance out the negativity engendered by the war. Surely it is more than pure coincidence that it was introduced by Hawaii, where America's involvement in the war began with the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Here are the beautiful words from Takata's own diary.
Okay, thanks, Paula. Hawayo Takata begins, "In my attempt to write this essay on the art of healing in limited words, I will try to be practical rather than technical, because what I am about to define is not associated with any material being which is visible or has a shape nor name. I believe there exists a supreme being, the absolute infinite, a dynamic force that governs the world and universe. It is an unseen spiritual power that vibrates, and all other powers fade into insignificance beside it. So therefore it is absolute. This power is unfathomable, immeasurable, and being a universal life force, it is incomprehensible to man. Yet every single being is receiving its blessings daily, awake and asleep. Different teachers and masters call him the Great Spirit, the universal life force, life energy, because when applied it vitalizes the whole system. Ether wave, because it soothes pain and puts you into sleep, into a deep slumber as if under anaesthetic. And the cosmic wave, because it radiates vibrations of exultant feeling and lifts you into harmony. I shall call it Reiki because I studied under that expression. Reiki is a radionic wave like radio. It could be applied locally or, as in shortwave, a distant treatment could be successfully given. Reiki is not electricity or radium or X-ray. It could penetrate thin layers of silk, linen, porcelain or lead, wood or steel because it comes from the Great Spirit, the Infinite. It does not destroy delicate tissues or nerves. It is absolutely harmless. Therefore, it is a practical and safe treatment. Because it is a universal wave, everything that has life benefits when treated. Plant life, fowls, the animals, as well as human beings, infants or old, poor or rich. It should be applied and used daily as prevention. When Reiki is applied daily, the body shall respond, and all we wish and desire to attain in this world is within our reach. Health, happiness, and the road to longevity, which we all seek. I call this perfection." That's the end of her message.
Wow, what lovely words and a beautiful way of describing Reiki. So just to remind you, Judy's latest book, Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, and her other two books, The Zeta Message and Human by Day, Zeta by Night, are available through Amazon and Kindle. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel. Thanks, Judy, and we look forward to our next Q&A session. Bye for now.